Good morning, everyone. It's Jamie from Independent Street Tarot and Seasons and Ritual, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit today about the assassination shooting attempt on Donald Trump yesterday. It is Sunday, July 14th. Um, First and foremost, I want to start out by saying that this isn't a time to panic or um, go into fear-based modes. It is okay to be scared. It's okay to be concerned. This is a good time to, practice your deep breathing, grounding, all those things. But it's also a good time to practice critical thinking. Um, this is a good time to make sure you're not jumping to conclusions. It's a good time to go over what it is that you believe in personally. I was texting with my mom a little bit earlier, and I was thinking about this all last night. There's a couple things I was thinking about last night. First and foremost, I was thinking it was so interesting that no one had um, any footage of the person who supposedly fired. And then this morning, because I was like, we have cell phones, we get footage of everything. People leak photos of everything. And so I went and looked on BBC this morning, or I just Googled who shot Donald Trump, honestly, and the BBC article came up, and they had footage from TMZ of all places. So TMZ apparently had it, and I would maybe gently suggest looking at other news outlets from other places to get your facts on this one, because we do know our news outlets have a bias slant. They just do. So, um, so there was that. But then I was also thinking, like last night and this morning, that I think it's very interesting that the side that is calling for violence is getting violence. And again, we always say your words create your reality, and these words are creating their reality. So be aware of that. Your words create your reality. So if you want to be safe, just always tell yourself, I know I'm safe. I know I'm protected. I know I have spirits helping me, angels, guides, deceased loved ones, grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, whoever, aunts, uncle, whoever, your cat, your dog, looking after you, so you can stay out of danger. And it really does work. And again, it's not surprising that the side calling for violence is getting violence against them. Also, unfortunately, when these things happen, it's just a tragedy. There's not a good side, in the sense that, I don't think anyone's a winner in gun violence, quite honestly, no matter what my beliefs are. So I would hope that just us as people, um, normal run-the-mill people, would share that sentiment. And I hope, religious leaders and other people that others look upon would also share that sentiment as well. Um, the information that they were releasing on the shooter, you guys can look it up. They're saying he was a 20-year-old, so basically a child, a 20-year-old white male registered Republican. And we have to remember, we don't know people's motives, and I'm sure YouTube will be full of people contacting his spirit to let you know what he was thinking. And if you guys watch that, that's okay. There's no shame in that. I'm very aware of what I do for a living, and I'm very aware of um, the company it keeps in the wider sense, right? At the same time, I really want you guys to, critical thinking. You can have magic and you can have critical thinking at the same time. You don't have to have one or the other. You can be grounded and still work with spirit and nature and science and quantum physics and angels and all those things. Okay, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be both, and they can work together quite beautifully. So, and I want to, and it was like, it's not like this isn't an uncomfortable subject to talk about. Because in this business, there are no uncomfortable subjects to talk about. It's just that it's always kind of a bummer when you have to, talk about violence or violent things. And, I just want you to remember, or if you don't know about this, but, back in the 60s, unfortunately, with the Sharon Tate murders, he did that so because he wanted to start Charles Manson, he did that because in his mind, he thought he could start a race war, right? It didn't work, obviously. And so we don't know about this young person that decided this is what he was going to do or his motives, we don't. And I can say, he could be, I don't know his motives, but it's important when these things happen not to just jump to the first conclusion, but to wait and see what comes out because um unfortunately, if people that are crazy or have mental illness, y- they don't, in their mind it makes sense, but in our world where we're just doing day-to-day things, it doesn't come across like that. um I mean, it could be anything. So, he could be a pro, uh, you know, DT is backing off the abortion stance, so he could really want abortion. We just don't know. Um, and he had Orban at his place. We don't know. We don't know this person's motives, this young person's motives. It's just such a tragedy that is the thing they go to for anyone in any case, that they think that what can solve this is violence. When we had more freedom of speech, I guess, before a few weeks ago before the Supreme Court, and I say that tongue in cheek. We still have plenty of freedoms. We still have plenty of ways to um, get those rights back. Okay, we do not have to resort to violence. That we don't. And um, this is when I start to go, but I'll go into a little bit of the astrology of it. So, Jupiter is in Gemini. Gemini is the twins. Gemini is luckily the reporter. So Gemini gathers information. And so the way that I see Gemini is that it's leading us out of duality and into unity consciousness. Gemini had the lunar south node in it a couple years ago. And to me, that was leading us out of duality. So so right now Jupiter is in Gemini, and Jupiter is a very pleasant planet. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. Jupiter is gifts and luck, as we say. It is always, and it's also the maintenance of faith. Um, Jupiter is a benevolent, so it's seen as a friendly planet. Jupiter is known to be jovial. But Jupiter is first and foremost expansion. So it's going to expand thoughts and ideas because it's in Gemini, which is an air sign. But it can also expand thoughts and ideas of, okay, well, instead of, okay, well, let's get some more information, right? So Gemini used to be known as duality because it's either you're going this way or that way. So the south node, when the lunar south node is in a planet, it's what we're leaving behind. So I saw us as leaving behind duality. And so one way I could read that in this Jupiter in Gemini. So if it was before the south node and this happened, you know, as most people did, because this violence was directed at a Republican, it was like, well, it had to be the other side right away. Um, and as of right now, whether this young person, we don't know, uh, we don't know their motives, but he was a registered Republican, right? So it's really important to use Gemini's gifts of the reporter to gather information, all the information we can, to then make a decision, critical thinking, at this time, and allow Jupiter to show us, right? Blowing it up, like, I don't know if I should use the word blowing up, but blowing it up, like expanding this idea that we do have more than one news source, right? We do have more than, you know, one way to think about this. We do have more one way to point our fingers, you know. And it's really a good time to really get in to see how we feel about it within ourselves, you know. Um, it's just not one solution fits all. It's just not one answer fits all. It's not like, well, if you go left, if you're not going left, you got to go right, you know. And I always tell people, no, you can go straight, you can go backwards, you can go sideways, you know. Um, this isn't okay. Well, this happened. All right. Well, now we need to all go buy guns. No, there's lots of other things we can do, you know. Um, and so use those gifts of Gemini right now. Use those gifts with Jupiter in Gemini. Um, and at the same time, realize that because Jupiter is in there, he is going to highlight those places on Earth where people think it's either this way or that way. So again, if there's anything I can stress, it's always take a step back and look at the big picture. Okay, understand if if a group of people are just going to think this way, and see if this group of people is going to think that way. You, my friend, can think any way you want. You don't have to go either way, you know. You need to do what you feel good in and what you feel safe doing. And if things don't resonate with you, just like this video, if this video doesn't resonate with you, turn it off. You don't waste your time with it, you know. Gemini wants you to think, you know, be that balance of the head and the heart. To me, that's how I read Gemini. It's that balance of the head of the heart. It is striking a conversation, right? I would even say with the other to see where there is that compromise, where we do meet some core beliefs, right, that we all have. Um, One of them, I'm sure, being food. I can tell you right now, when the tough gets going, the Italians go get a snack. And that's what I did before I made this video. Went and had breakfast because I wanted to make sure I was fully fueled and ready to go, right? So maybe you could go get a snack, you know, take a minute, drink some water. Um, think about those times where you were with people that seemed so different than you, yet you got along just fine. Maybe you guys all did the electric slide. I don't fucking know, you know, but those things do exist, right? So Jupiter and Gemini, see where it starts showing, because it's going to start showing, because it's going to keep expanding people's uh, rigid beliefs on one side or the other side. But for you, it can expand the idea of taking a step back. It can expand the idea of seeing both sides, right? It can expand that you see both sides and then make another decision, right? Unity consciousness instead of collective consciousness. So there's beautiful ways to work with this Jupiter in Gemini. Gemini is my rising, so I'm very happy Jupiter's in Gemini. Um, and then see too, though, if you feel like you're going down a rabbit hole and getting very sucked into one side, it has to be this way and it's bringing you a bunch of anxiety, reassure yourself, no, it doesn't. It can be a million other ways. There are a million other ways, you guys. People wake up every day and completely change their life. There's always that story where someone wakes up and they were like, you know, I'm not going to do this anymore. And they just changed their life. Okay. So nothing's set in stone, especially at this time right now. Um, and I know people want to use the words like volatile and chaos and, you know, all these things, which are very sexy words, but, you know, how do you feel? Do you feel volatile? Do you feel full of chaos? And if you do, I would recommend maybe getting some exercise, again, getting some snacks, reaching out, talking to someone, do some breathing exercises, turn the TV off, you know, don't listen to the news for a week. Um, Maybe reinvest in yourself, reinvest in your free time, reinvest in going outside and reconnecting with nature or pets or volunteering, you know, things that bring you joy. Um, you don't have to live in chaos. You don't have to live in other people's chaos, right? That's another thing with the chaos and all that stuff. And there's all that chaos over there. You don't have to live in that. You don't have to partake in that. You can do what you would like for now. That's also a joke, kind of, hopefully. Um, so I'm going to talk a little bit about, Taurus, Mars, and Uranus, which, I guess right now or yes, I mean, I think right now or tomorrow, I mean, right now. So, Uranus has been in Taurus since 2018, I think 2019. And Uranus rules Aquarius. Aquarius right now has Pluto in it. And that Pluto in Aquarius has told me from the beginning, things are never going to be the same in a good way. Okay, so I'm not real sure why all astrologers keep reading planets exactly the same. I think astrologers need to give themselves a little bit of wiggle room because of this Pluto in Aquarius, and as well as Saturn and Pisces. I think those are really big. But this Uranus and Taurus, so Uranus has been in Taurus. I've seen, and Uranus is the disruptor. Uranus is the rebellion. Uranus is quick, right? Didn't see it coming. Here it is, right? And so to me, Uranus has been in Taurus, churning up the earth, because Taurus is an earth sign, fixed earth. And so it's been in there churning up the earth to get us to a place where we can plant new seeds, because we are really getting rid of all the old stagnant energy, right, from the past 2,500 years of the age of Pisces. So right now, Uranus is at a new degree. It's at 26 degrees of Taurus. And I think it hasn't been there for 84 years. It could be more. I don't know. I didn't bring my notes in here with me, but a previous video I said all these new points where the planets are. So this is a brand new degree in our lifetime, at least my lifetime. I'm not 84 or maybe 160. I don't remember. But so Uranus is at a new degree in Taurus. So it's churning up all this new earth, right? It hasn't been there in my lifetime, as I say, new degree. And then Mars, right, who is known as the god of war, but I see him now as a spiritual warrior, is meeting up at that point. So everyone was talking about all the chaos, right? Well, I find very interesting that, could this be the chaos? A young man, shot at DT. It very well could be, but I find it very interesting for a couple of reasons. Mars meeting up with this new degree point, right? Mars has never been there together with Uranus in Taurus. So this is fresh. This is new. This is not some territory that Mars has been over before. So we could say, like, how does Mars handle this? This is something new. This is something that he hasn't done before or experienced before. And at the same time, just being an astrologer, I can, reflect that on this young person who was a young male who didn't 100% know what he was doing because I hate to say this, he grazed the ear, let's say that. So I could take that, and see that, like, oh yeah, being this, that makes sense to me, being an astrologer. And I can also, though, make the argument that Mars is a spiritual warrior, because if it was supposed to be an all-out war, the person that attempted this wouldn't have missed. They would have been experienced. They would have succeeded. I don't know what the right word to say is, but you guys get what I'm saying. So it's important to me to relay this in the sense that we are in new territory. Okay, we aren't covering the same territory with, like, the same mentality. There is this new mentality that's coming in here. And again, it's not to scare you, it's not to frighten you, but it is for you to see that it's important for you not to go down the road of death and destruction because, we've been there before. Yeah, we have. Okay, so that's why we shouldn't go back down there. But it's also sort of an opening for us to bring in new energy, new compassion, new love, new like, whoa, 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 let's pump the brakes. What is it that would we really want? The idea of war is awful to me, and I don't know why people fantasize it or glorify it. I really don't. I don't. Okay. And so, but the idea of Mars being a spiritual warrior, being on this new path, you know, even if there was some aggression there, because this is new territory, it was a young person. They weren't skilled in this. They weren't, this wasn't his job. He wasn't a sniper. I read that very well with this Mars in hitting this new degree point with Taurus, because Taurus and Uranus wants to bring in like the rebellion, but it's the rebellion of compassion, the rebellion of love, the rebellion of wake the fuck up. Okay. Because again, if it was a degree point that Mars had been with before with Uranus, it wouldn't have been a young person and they wouldn't have missed. That's all I can say. So the other thing I'm going to touch on is Venus in Leo. Okay, our sweet, sweet Venus. Venus and Leo in the past, when something like this would happen, that feminine side of us that is caring and nurturing, whether you're male, female, no matter how you present, but that would a lot of times go into reaction mode to immediately swoop in and do something and be like, okay, but we have to remember that she had this conversation with Pluto, who is in Aquarius. And Pluto in Aquarius is bringing in new ideas, new thoughts, new answers to old questions. And so she's not going to get swayed by the amenities. Okay. There might be a thing where, okay, but she's confident in who she is. And she's confident in knowing like she can pump the brakes before she jumps onto making a quick conclusion. Now, this is general. Okay. If you guys are saying, actually, Jamie, I saw plenty of people, blah. Okay. Yes, I know that. That also makes really good news. I get it. Okay. But I want to say, as a unifier, that unity consciousness with Venus and Leo right now, she is more conscious, right? She is more, she's more in her heart, right? Than that immediate, in the head, maybe anger. So that's really good because before that's how that's why we're always, oh, it looks real shiny. Oh, it looks good. Oh, talk me into this. Oh, that's the best, and then, here we are 20 years later, 40 years later, and we're like, what the hell? What were we thinking? Oh my God. Right. And that's also getting a lot of help because of that, Saturn and Pisces, right? Saturn and Pisces, and Saturn, remember, just went retrograde in Pisces. Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces just went retrograde. It almost went into Aries to start something new. And it was like, we still got some shit to figure out, friends. So we're going to be figuring this out. But Pisces is the other, right? And Pisces in its lower vibe is the illusion. So a lot of time we couldn't see the other clearly because of all the illusion. Well, with Saturn sitting in Pisces, we're going to start seeing the other very clearly because it is clearing out the illusion. It's holding fast, it's holding steady, it's going to make things stable. So with that too, it's important to see if something seems to be like going, like if you're just standing there and you're watching something vibrating and it's going bonkers and it just bleh, and you're just like, oh my God, what the hell? That's kind of going to be that energy. You're going to start seeing things dismantle, right? And it's okay to be apart. It's okay to be witnessing. It's okay. You don't have to be in there. trying to hold things together, because when these big planets are sitting there, you know, Uranus and Taurus, Saturn in Pisces, Gemini in, I mean, Jupiter in Gemini, you know, and then our personal planets like Mars and Venus, the moon and the sun, you know, we're just kind of going throughout the day. They're going to be shifting things around, and it's up to us to be grounded. It's up to us to take a minute to take a pause, right? It's up to us to remember, oh yeah, I'm seeing this because Saturn is in Pisces and it doesn't want me to be fooled anymore. You know, oh, Saturn does want things to be steady. Saturn does want us to see the other as the other and appreciate that, but no, it's the other, not us. We have to get out of this idea that the other is 100% reflection of us. We're going to get more into we are us, you know, I am me, I'm good with that. They are them. And that is that Pluto and Aquarius, because Aquarius is the individual first and then the collective. And so the more that we become very aware of ourselves and who we are and love ourselves, it's very easy to be part of the collective, because when you love yourself and you feel grounded and you're okay, it's easier to, you know, when your ship's steady, it's easier to help steady another ship. But whenever all the ships aren't steady, it's just a bunch of unsteady ships running into each other. And so Pisces is water, right? It's mutable water. It's been real unsteady for a long time. And so now Saturn's in there and it's calming the waters. But the ships that are still unsteady are still going to sink, right? So it's okay to abandon ship. It's okay to jump to a steady ship. It's okay to steady your ship. You know, it's okay to put your sails down, you know, if you want to get calm. Okay. And if you want to get the hell out of there, it's okay to put your sails up, right? And get out of there. Neptune at that 29-degree mark is on the world stage, the world axis, like we said. So everything's shifting that way. We could see things happening, Britain, France, you know, it would be great to get some movement in the Middle East for sure. But, you know, Neptune is dreams, Neptune is the depths, right? And Neptune wants us to remember how it is for us to dream. What is our dream? What do we want to become steady, right? For us and for the world, right? World peace, you know, world compassion. It's not going to look exactly how I think it's going to look, or maybe how you're going to look, but it's going to be there, right? And it is here, and we're trying to figure out the best way to get it implemented, right? As we get rid of all these old norms, old patterns, old ways of thinking. And the best way we start implementing that is with us, when we feel steady, when we feel grounded. When we understand that I feel good, I'm going to say hello to my neighbors. I'm going to go to the grocery store. I'm going to say hi to people. I'm not suspicious of everyone. My guides, angels, source, science, whatever molecules will tell me when to look up, you know, not go there. Reconnecting with our self, right? Reconnecting with our spirit, if you will, reconnecting with our molecules, if you don't believe in any of this stuff. But when you decide, okay, yeah, that's what I want to reconnect with, then you're going to be safe, you know, then you're going to be like, I don't know if I believe everything I read. I don't know if I believe everything I see. And that's okay. You know, you guys, it's okay. But you can't live in a state of fear. It's okay to be a little bit skeptical. But we do have to believe in something, and we need to believe in ourselves. We need to believe that there is good people. I'm telling you, funniest people online, sometimes those comments, you know, I love it when I go to the comments and people are like, I'm just here for the comments. You know, that's pretty funny. Okay. And I'm not making light of what happened to Donald Trump. There's no excuse for violence on any side, any side, you know. Even though there's times when maybe me or my mama will say hell won't be hot enough for that man, okay, or that woman, okay. So maybe that's how we handle it. All right, so I've got some cards. I got my deck. I'm gonna do, I know this is a long video, but if you're here, you're here. If you want to turn it off, turn it off. So we're gonna do a Celtic cross on the energies moving forward. So let me see, how long has this been going? They moved all the things, so I have no idea. But anyway, sorry guys. All right, so we're gonna do a Celtic cross real fast with the energies moving forward from this shooting. Okay. Okay. All right. Right. There's one more. Hmm. This is turning out to be very interesting. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Ooh, okay. Running out of room. Okay, so we have here and one more. No fortune. Okay. All right, I'm gonna pause this real fast so I can go and grab my diagram. So I'll be right back. Okay, friends, I just wanted to get it so I could say the right word for you guys when it comes to the numbers, because I know how I read it, and but I'm trying to do the normal one, so it goes with what you may or may not know what Celtic cross. But anyway, okay, so in the first position, we have the Nine of Swords. Um, in the Nine of Swords is regret. The Nine of Swords is the present, how we feel right now. Why is this happening? Um, could have done something different, could have done something better. Um, and so if you guys are in this feeling of, oh, how did we get here? It's important to understand that swords, right? Mental, that Jupiter and Gemini, okay? If this is expanding anxiety, it's time to work on getting out of this, okay? One way you do this is always knowing that you're safe. One way of doing this is always knowing that you can reach out to someone else for support. One way of getting out of this is knowing that we're changing our way of thinking, that Pluto in Aquarius, okay? The present is, we're not getting any sleep. We're just up worrying about the past, okay? We need to get some sleep. We need to get stable. We need to get out of our minds, out of our heads, okay? So again, if you're in this situation, good news is Venus is in Leo, right? So Leo is the heart. But use this time maybe to reflect on what you're thinking about that keeps you in anxiety. Maybe use this time if you can take a step back to see like, oh, when I watch this TV show, I feel like shit. Or if I listen to the news, I can't sleep for 16 hours, but use this time to see what is in front of you and that what you keep putting in front of you that's keeping you up at night, past regrets or anxiety or I should have done this, because we need to get out of this state. We need to get out of this anxiety. We need to get present. Okay. So the number 2 card is the challenge. And this is so interesting. So what's crossing it is the Fool. Okay. And the Fool is the new beginning, right? The Fool is the new way, right? And it is like the challenge could also be known as the issue, the question, the block, right? So the Fool, right? So here I am talking about, oh, you guys, there's all this new good energy coming on the planet. We need to be more compassionate. Do I sound like a fucking fool? Like, Jesus, Jamie, are you crazy? Like, go outside and look at the world, and the thing to that I always say is I do go outside and I do look at the world, And this morning I went on a walk and it was fine. I waved to my neighbors. The people at the restaurant were happy. The couple that was sitting next to me was fucking 6 drinks down, baby. I mean, it was like 8:08 this morning. She had a Bloody Mary. She had some champagne. He was drinking some cocktail. Okay. He had another drink. She was finishing up with a fucking Diet Coke. All right. You know, and that's the thing. Um, and so, do I seem like a fool to people? I'm sure I do, but do I seem like a fool to myself? No, I feel happy. I'm looking up to the sky. My heart is full of joy. I have my little dog and we're doing the thing, right? So, to get out of this, it's crossed with a fool. How can we challenge ourselves to think differently? How can we challenge ourselves to be a fool in the sense that thinking, oh yeah, this is okay, right? The fool's journey, the fool's choice, the hero's journey, the hero's choice, right? So this is the challenge. Work with this challenge. Number 3 card, past, or no, the recent, right? So I'm gonna make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah, past in the future. Okay. So we have the 2 of Swords, which is discernment. Okay. So that's the past. In the way that I mean like the past, because if you were look to say like past, present, future, right? If you're thinking of discernment as movement, but not a lot of movement, and it's putting you in this state, okay, then you do have to make a decision, right? You do have to make a decision. If you keep waiting for the other to show you something, you have to make a decision. So like in my life, I do these moon circles and I was trying to decide if I still want to do them at the same place. And I had to come to the decision. I finally was like, no, I've got to look for somewhere different, right? So now I made that decision. I'm moving forward. It got me out of this, right? Because I made that decision. The 2 of Swords talks of discernment, right? And it is this idea of where you want to be, where you want to go, what you want to feel, okay? But even though you don't see it in front of you, you've got to use your feelings, and your mind. 2 of Swords, Gemini, Jupiter and Gemini, okay? Because see, the water behind it is moving, but it's not deep waves, right? It's just movement. So when this 2 of Swords comes in, use your discernment. When I would say, okay, I want a different place. Okay, why? Because I want a bigger place. I want some place that's like more accessible. I want, I have these things, right? These ideas, right? And when I think about those ideas, they make me feel good. So then I finally made the decision. Okay, I've got to start looking for a place that fits all this criteria about how I feel. And once I did that, I got out of this mode. Okay, there was actual movement. Now, again, this isn't like, I mean, when you're here to get to where you need to be, you make that decision, but it's based on how you feel. It's not based on what you see right in front of you. Okay. Future, Ace of Wands, passionate new beginning. Okay. So once you make that decision, you become passionate again. You become inspired. Things start happening because, okay, I made that decision. This is what I'm going to start looking for. Instead of staying in that spot where it's like, I don't know, maybe, kind of. When we ruminate in that, this is how we feel most of the time. I don't know, kind of, maybe, but what if I do that and then this happens and we get nowhere. When we sit in silence, when we think about what it is that we want and we feel, right, how that makes us feel, then we can make that decision. Then we can move on, right? Then we become that fool, right? We're like, okay, we can do this. Okay. So Ace of Wands, I think I say Ace of Swords, Ace of Wands, passionate new beginning, which is great because like a couple things. First and foremost, it's summer right now. Summer's hot as shit. Wands is a fire sign. We're finishing up Cancer season, and we'll be moving into Leo season, which is fixed fire. So this is good for us, you guys. This is a good sign. So make that decision. Once you make it, get excited about it. All right, where are we? Fourth card, the future, the immediate future. Okay. Four of Pentacles. This is the immediate future. The Four of Pentacles is showing us all the people, all the kings, right, who don't want to let go of their pentacles. They don't want to let go of their money. They don't want to let go of their earth. They don't want to let go of their cities. And then you can see it's weighing them down. See, they're squashed by it. This is all they think about is their pentacles. This is it. So the immediate future is showing us what we're going to see, us on the sidelines, which we're already kind of seeing, is probably a bunch of quote unquote kings. I'm just using that loosely. Worried about their money. I don't want to give up my money. I don't want to give up my land. I don't want to share, basically. Okay. And that's okay, you guys. Just notice that. Just notice that. You don't have to, that doesn't have to impact you, right? You can just observe. Okay. Because what is in the goals, best outcome, okay, it's just us putting our heads down and staying at work. Okay. Us putting our heads down, staying at work. This is about learning new skills. Okay. This is about perfecting skills that you already have, but this is about us getting better, right, at what we do. And then making all these pentacles. This is so interesting because the Eight of Pentacles, I always say, is the artist at work. And just last night I went and saw, it was second Saturday, or I can't remember what they have here. And so I went and saw my friends that are artists, and I got to see all their new work, and it was so beautiful. And it was so inspiring. You know, I was like, oh yeah, this is great. So the artist at work, just because these kings over here that don't look like they're having a good time, they're squashed and bent over, right? Trying to hold on to all this stuff. Well, if we just keep our heads down and keep working, like this person seems content, you know, this person seems to be enjoying what they're doing. And this isn't like talking about slave wages or staying, you know, in a job you don't like. Okay, that's not what this is saying. This is saying pick the things that you love, or if you want to learn a new skill, and really concentrate on those things, the things that bring you joy. Okay. And the artist at work is always outside of the village. Okay. He's not letting everyone know what he's working on. Okay. What they're working on. So you decide what you want to work on. If you want to learn a new language, you know, or if you want to become the best tap dancer, you know, or if you want a new skill, right? This is what we need to do. Despite. Okay. Right. All right, let's go into, okay, 6. Let's go back to 9. Okay, so, okay. 3, 4. Did I read this? Okay, wait, maybe I read this backwards. This is the immediate future. Okay. Okay, yeah. I think we're okay. We're going to keep going. I might have read this a little backwards, but we're going to keep going. So, okay, I see what I did. So the other thing is like, this is what our subconscious mind is, and this is what the reflects our goals, right? So the subconscious for us too could be these kings don't want to give up their property or their money, or I've got to hold on to everything, you know, because I'm scared. So that's below. But above, if we just keep working, if we still do what we love, again, things are going to keep moving, right? And we don't have to share this with everyone. So I said what I said. Okay, let's keep moving on. All right. Let's see. The advice. Number 7 card. Okay. This here is telling us to stop carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders. Concentrate on what we have immediate control over. Okay. We have immediate control over if what we want to have for dinner. Okay, we have immediate control over if we want to watch TV or not. We have immediate control over our lives. Stop carrying the weight of the world. One thing with empaths, I mean, a lot of people, especially with empaths, we think we're failing because world peace hasn't succeeded yet, and all I can say to you is take a time out, stop watching the world news. There's a lot going on. It's not up to us to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. Put it down, start reflecting on you, start doing what you love. My friend Janine, she's writing a book, and she's really good at it. And she practices and she does these things. And sometimes we do talk about like world things, but she's always, I mean, I don't know if she is, but I always feel like she's doing better when she is concentrating on writing that book and she puts down the weight of the world and she gets to do what she wants to do. And this goes very well with this card. If we put this down, we can work on this. If we put these down, we can focus on this Ace of Wands. If we can put this down, we're not going to feel bogged down by those 4 pentacles. If we put these down, we're going to be able to go on this new journey with one stick, with a little hobo bag on it, instead of carrying all these 10 with our head down and not having a good time. Ask yourself every day, is this my shit and do I need to carry it? If the answer is no, let it go. So this is what's really interesting too. The external influences in the 8th position came out. And this is very interesting. There's 2 cards and I was trying to get them not to stay together, but they did. So the external influences that are upon us is the 7 of Swords and the Emperor. Okay. And I think this is very interesting because the way that I read the 7 of Swords, so usually the 7 of Swords talks about deceit. Okay. And so we could say the external influences is that we're being deceived by old white men. So there you go. Okay. Pretty cut and dry, right? So, but the other thing I want to say about this is if we turn it this way, this guy is leaving the circus behind. He's leaving away everything that's been fooling him or what he's been weighed down with, and he's getting the hell out of Dodge. Swords is always intellect, so he's taking what he needs to know, he's leaving behind what he doesn't need to know, and he's leaving this, I always say the circus. So he's leaving, he's getting the hell out of Dodge. And over here then, though, we do have the Emperor. So in this case, if the Emperor was on this side, and he's leaving this, the bullshit behind, everything that's been fooling him, then this person gets to come more realized. This person becomes the Emperor, right? And the Emperor is that divine masculine. The divine masculine is the masculine who understands and listens to his feminine side. What's so interesting with this, again, he is ruled by Aries, right? Because Aries is ruled by Mars. And Mars now I see as this spiritual warrior and not just the god of war. So when I pulled them and they were laying on my table, they are laying like this, where he is walking away from everything that kept him in the circus and moving towards the Emperor, which is the divine masculine energy. So, he holds the Ankh because it is eternal life and the world in his hands because he knows there's more than that meets the eye, right? And so we want to walk away from a lot of this 3D conditioning, a lot of the stuff that we thought we had been, that we were told, and we have to move into more of this Emperor energy for all of us, no matter how we present, we have these masculine and feminine energies within us. And it's really interesting that major arcana there, major arcana with the Fool, and then the last 2 cards are major arcana. So hopes and fears. Okay, what we hope can also be what we fear. And this is the Chariot, right? And so the Chariot is quick moving. The Chariot knows when it's time to move. So one of our hopes is we can get the hell out of here. We can move out of this divisive energy and into new, fresh energy. But again, at the same time, the fear of that is it's fresh, it's new. We're not exactly sure maybe how to navigate that when we think about it. But if we go into our hearts, we'll know how to navigate it. So it's okay if we feel like things are moving fast, right? It's okay that to be hopeful that things get a nice clip, right? Into a new beginning, right? Into being this fool, right? Into this new fresh sense. Because what's interesting, the last card, the outcome, um, where the situation is, what the situation, the outcome based on where we are right now, if we kind of all keep this course, we get the Wheel of Fortune. And that's still things moving. So we go from the Chariot to the Wheel of Fortune, you know, and it's always, to me, a good fortune. It's always something for the best. To me, the wheel is in motion. Um, and if you're like, but what if it's the worst? Well, then you need to have that conversation with yourself, because then you're still in this. You're still in this energy, right? We want this Wheel of Fortune to come in. This is Anubis, right? We're in this time of grieving. We're in this time of death, if you will, to move forward. Pluto and Aquarius. We have the Sphinxes. We have the Sphinxes. It's about moving forward if we keep this outcome. So, and the outcome will go back to the challenge, and the challenge would be this fresh new beginning, right? This new way of seeing things, good, fresh eyes, you know, lots of sun. Lots of movement for real in this spread right here. But the idea that it can come through, um, it can be something different, right? Looking at the spread, it's a great spread. You know, the main things that I would say is like you know, this card, and this card, right? Are we in alignment? Well, if we're here, and this is above and this is below, um, just be aware that subconsciously you might be thinking you don't have enough. Subconsciously, you might be thinking the kings are going to keep all the money. You know, you might be thinking I need to squirrel away all my acorns because I don't know what's going to happen. And the idea with this and this spread is just for you to see, am I thinking these things? Am I thinking these things? Is that subconsciously what I'm thinking? When I'm here working on new things, you know what? I know I have more than enough. I know I can take care of myself. I know I can take care of my family. I know I can go on this fool's journey, right? I know the Chariot is here to move us. I've learned things. I've learned things. I don't have to keep being fooled. You know, I'm ready for the Emperor to show up, right? I'm ready for the Emperor to show up in me, right? I'm the Emperor, you know. I'm the I'm the fool, right? I'm the Chariot. Um, I'm the artist at work, right? I'm on this Wheel of Fortune. How do I move this forward? So a good spread, you guys, just take note, right? Observe. Observe how you're feeling day to day. Observe if you're feeling like this, and like this to see what you can do to get out of those. You know, it's no shame to ask for help. You know, you can reach out to a tarot reader, you can reach out for acupuncture, you can reach out to a talk therapist, you can reach out to a psychiatrist, all these things, right? But the idea is that we are here, and it's just, how do we get ourselves there, right? How do we get this Chariot to move? How do we see the Emperor within us? How do we see ourselves as that spiritual warrior that's wise beyond our years, right? That listens to our intuition, that does keep moving forward no matter what, you know, the Wheel of Fortune is here. So, okay, friends, if you stuck with me for the whole video, thank you. I plan on doing a few more videos like this with doing Celtic crosses. Maybe they'll be a little quicker. I don't know. Maybe they'll be a little slower. I'm not sure. But I hope you guys did enjoy this. I hope you do have a beautiful Sunday. I hope you guys have a beautiful week. If you have any questions, please reach out. And always comment in the comment below. And again, like and subscribe and all that stuff. So, okay, friends, take it easy. Have a good Sunday, and I will talk to you soon.